Okay, in this video, I want to talk about intermittent reinforcement. Okay, last time I tried, I said rewards, but no. Kind of like the same thing. But anyway, I'm going to use an example. It's basically like a part 2 of a video I was making yesterday, or what happened after I was interrupted while I was making a video yesterday. And it's basically when somebody gives you something good for a while, and then something bad, and then something good. They can do it for a while, then something bad, and they can do the bad longer than the good, or vice versa. But yeah, and it's brainwashing. That's the way I'm going to put it. It's brainwashing. I took it I learned about it back in the 1980s in a class in psychology at the university I was attending at the time, and the class was called The Psychology of Learning. And I remember just calling it brainwashing, like Brainwashing 101. Okay, now I think I was a freshman, took it and it was a junior level class, or I was a sophomore and it was a senior level class. But it was a tough class, and much of it was because of the terminology. We were learning so many things like positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and rewards and punishers, and so many things we were learning all at once. So it was basically the first class in this. Okay, but other students at that point, if they had not done like I did, they'd already had a lot of background. So this kind of thing does take quite a bit of background to understand, where it's going and what it's used for, and so on and so forth. So this is just, me, my memories of it, but I'm going to use an example of what happened yesterday, like I said. And this was, I was basically talking about how, some businesses decline when they get too arrogant, But right then, Adam called and wanted me to call back to see if I had received a call back from a customer service. I'm just not going to name the place, but had called me back. It was supposed to be escalated, my questions and all were supposed to be escalated to a manager, and they would give me a call back. Never he did. And when he called, I told him, and I really didn't want to deal with it. But yeah, it took hours. And I don't even think it's still probably not resolved. And the feeling that I got was this kind of feeling. That's why it's on my mind. And two other things that happened recently had this on my mind, and it's called intermittent reinforcement. The whole situation. I'm not saying that they were doing this on that purpose, in this way, they were trained that way or anything, but I do believe it can certainly fit into it. Because the thing is, it could start even before this part, that I had to go through one of those really awful automated systems. I don't know what they call them these days. When you call and their 800 number and you go through, it feels like pages or screens or whatever. But you're doing it on the phone, push this for this number, that number. You're never getting one that's an option to speak to a customer service. It's infuriating, and none of them really match, and you're going through them over and over. So I finally, I learned after so many, you can push 0 and you finally get somebody. So that's like, it's a bit like punishment, and then you finally get a reward. You finally get somebody, a customer service rep. Finally. Now, of course, then, you're happy. You reach somebody. This person sounded just like either a computer trying to act like a human, or a human trying to act like a computer. Yeah, I kept hearing things like, exactly, I understand you exactly. And she did not understand me exactly at all. She did not. So finally I said, I need to speak to a manager. And she said that, sure, and put me on hold and all this kind of stuff. And finally they come back. There's the punish, there's the reward. And she comes back and she said that she'll escalate it and have someone call me back. So, and I said, when? And she didn't answer, of course. And she said somebody would call me back. They never did. Okay, it was going to be a manager. Okay, so that day before, I was already frustrated with this, the whole situation, the reason I was calling in the first place. And he was at work, so he couldn't call them. And, you know, we've been around long enough to know, many years ago we knew, it takes hours. It doesn't take, like it did back in the 80s, you know, when I was working as a customer service person. Actually, it was back in the early 1980s, and it was for a cable company. And we had these old computers, of course, you know, they didn't have them like they have them now, and we were happy when we went from, I think it's called monochrome, you know, black and white, black screen, white letters. We were happy when we could change them to green. You know, it was something new. But people would call in, and within like a minute we had their answers, because we had it right there on the screen. We told them what it was, and that was it. You didn't have no, let me escalate it to a manager because they can't find it, and none of that kind of stuff. It was, we took care of it. These days, I even have had some tell me things like, we're dealing with more than one person at a time. Like, I'm not waiting on hold for them to finish up somebody else. Yeah. And they don't have any shame for doing such to people. Hours, yeah. Where did I leave off here? Anyway, so I never got the call back. I guess I was there. So when I called them yesterday, I don't know why I thought I could be still where I was and finish it. No, it took hours. And what would happen is I would call this number, and I would get somebody who was not understanding me. Different people each time. Long automated system, all this kind of stuff. And somebody that would not understand anything I was saying. I asked one question, they'd answer another. And what I was asking, they would never answer. So I was getting really upset about this. Furious. I should say the truth. Furious. And finally, one time I said, "Where are you?" And I don't even go there. No, don't go there, because they weren't understanding me. I have an accent. You hear it, and they weren't understanding me. I couldn't understand them perfect, but they couldn't understand me. And they told me where it was, and so I asked to speak to someone here. Yeah, I know there's a whole thing that people talk about when people do that. They're prejudiced. They're this. No, that is not it. I want somebody. Time and time again, 15 million times I call, they can't understand me because of my accent. My accent, not theirs. It has nothing to do with theirs. It has something to do with mine. So think of it the other side. They don't understand your accent, you know. So, and of course, nobody. I was furious. So I went home to try, and I called one of the places locally. You can't. They don't handle those. So you have to call these customer service ones. And I said, I want to know where your corporate office number. We can't give that out to you. You can't find it online. But I found something that was like it was that. It was saying it was, which it wasn't, as it turned out. It was had an actual area code other than a toll-free number. So I called that number to actually reach someone after going through yet another one of those long automated systems and all this. And I asked her, you know, where is this located? And she told me, I think it was Colorado. Well, anyway, at some point I told her what was the problem, and she said, well, we have a southern number. So, yeah, she heard my accent. She understood me, and she was going to give me a southern number, but she never did. Anyway, so I talked to her, and she says this is resolved. And it was like, I was so pleased that somebody could understand what I'm saying. They can, help me. So that was, positive. That was good. I was feeling good. Yay, this is fine. This torture is finally going to be over with. I'm with her on the phone for like 40 minutes when she says, oh, there's a problem. Yeah, 40 minutes. Okay, this is after already hours, I think 2 hours at the time, with this other crap, And that was just yesterday. That was just, I had done it the day before too. And so she says, I got to speak to my manager. She said, this time I actually have to do the musical hold. The time before, she said she didn't. Yeah, it's one of those. And it goes back, and she comes out back on the line. I'll be right back. We're still looking back and forth. Yeah, this is BS. We know this. So Finally, she gets back and she says that they can't do it. I have to go to the actual store and speak to the manager and and the manager doesn't do it right then and there. They have to do it because they basically lied to us. They lied to us. She even said it. They offered us something that had already expired, but the way they got away with it was playing with a lot of promotional codes to manipulate the system to where we would think we were getting what we were told originally, and that it would show up that way. Got all that? Yeah. Okay. And during all this, the locals ones would, someone would say, well, you have to actually go in and do it. I had actually called them and told them. They said, what was going on. I said, part of it was that they didn't apply the money that we paid when we first went there to our account. And I kept telling these people, these different people that I spoke to, that's called theft. They didn't apply our money. We have the receipt. They would say things like, how much was it? I said, you should know. This is your problem. You should know this. You're making it my problem. We have the receipt. We had it because it was on a credit card we paid it. Anyway, so we knew how much it was. So I had to call Adam, get that from him, that information. He had to look it up, all this kind of trouble for this, which was their problem. And once I said, called the local one and said that I was going to report it as theft, the next time I called, somebody said, well, it's right here. I don't know why all the other ones I'd spoken to over 2 days, couldn't find it. So I could go on with this. I know it's very irritating, probably, maybe. I don't know. But the thing was, they would give me someone who seemed like they were going to help. Okay, seemed like they were going to do something. Yes, they were going to look into it at the local one. Yes, this woman was going to help me. 40 minutes later, she can't do it. I was going to get the original offer we were told. Then she couldn't do it, and I'd have to go do more for myself and do it myself. Go there and talk to them. Anyway, I got there with them, and the manager, of course, wasn't in. We all know their manager's never going to be there, and that was sarcasm. Yes, and the woman had told me that if the manager won't do it, she wants it on voice, and she gave me a toll-free number to call when I was there, and then if that person, the manager, denied it, I would have to say that I want to speak to the district manager. They wanted on record that the manager denied it, and she gave me a number. Guess what the number went to? Yes, the original it was the same number, but it brought me back to the same original problem of people not understanding me after a really long automated system. Yes, can you imagine how furious I was at this point? And of course, I actually videoed while I was in there, and it was just a couple of basically kids, if you ask me, and they seemed like they were playing a game when I went in, and I said, why weren't y'all working on what you told me? And of course they don't answer, because you don't get answers from any of these. You don't get real answers. They're never going to answer. But so I got the manager wasn't there, so I got the district manager's phone and went back in to get it. After trying to get it from the company, that I'd called back over and over and over, trying to get it. No, you cannot get any information. They're not going to give you any information. They're not going to answer. They're not going to give you any information. Now during all this, I probably spoke to at least 20 people over the phone and in person and all this kind of stuff. And the last one I spoke to, she did the whole thing of she was going to help me, and I'm so sorry that you went through all this. Yes, I can see that you've been on the phone with them, and you've made multiple calls. Too many is what she said. I said, yeah, it's too many. And on and on. And she was going to help me. And again, it was that bringing you up to where, it's going to be wonderful. We're finally going to finish it. And at the end of it, she told me how much it was going to be. I said, no, that amount is going up. Unbelievable. Anyway, she wound up saying that she was going to give me $50 because of all my trouble and put it on my account. It actually showed up on my cell phone as 30 after we hung up, and I was laughing. I was laughing at that point. But when I looked online, it was 60. Okay, yeah. Nothing is going to be normal. Nothing is going to be what they say. even though 60, yes, is higher than 50. But what it showed up on the text message they sent me was 30. Yeah. Why can't they get it together? But the whole thing shows an intermittent, it shows an intermittent rewards. I mean, reinforcement. Kind of the same thing. You know, they would build me up to say, oh, it's finally going to get, a really nice person is finally going to get resolved. And boom. You know, nope, it's not. Again, boom, no, it's not. This is intermittent reinforcement, because they're and this is, now if this is used in something like a personal relationships, and somebody does it to you, you know, there's some, I'm sure you've all heard so many things about like love bombing and hoovering even. You know, all these kinds of things, they use this, you know, it's give you good, something good, bad, you know, and it's a way to, one way people become addicted to something. Also, you know, they become addicted, they're brainwashed. That's the way I put it. The brainwash is, you know, they're hooked at the end of it. Anyway, yeah, you know, after that, I felt exhausted, and I still don't know if it was resolved. The woman finally got it down to this, and she said somebody would call me, and I better answer. I said, no. When are they going to call? I want an exact time. And she, of course, didn't even say that they can't give it that. She goes, well, you need to be by your phone. I said, no, I'm not going to be. She said it could be a week. I don't know. I said, no, I'm not going to be tied to my phone all this time. You put it in there. If they call me and I don't answer, because she said you have to be there to answer it. So if they call me and I don't answer, they need to leave me a phone number I can call them directly that does not involve one of those automated systems. Bull of her telling me. I'm the consumer, okay? And what they were doing was the price of it was about twice as much when it shouldn't have been. Anyway, this went on. I felt exhausted at the end of it. Totally, by the end, I was totally exhausted. I was worried about my blood pressure. You know, I have hypertension. I take medication. Mine's always good. They're always happy with how mine is. You know, it's a little low if you ask me. But anyway, I tested it, you know, about, I don't know how long, maybe an hour or so after that. But I was still feeling that feeling, you know, of all that I'd been through, and it was normal. I told Adam about it. He said, maybe you secretly like dealing with this. I said, oh, no, don't even go there. But yeah, this kind of stuff. Now, I'm, of course, not going to become addicted to this. In fact, I actually asked if we had a some kind of contract with them, and then they said that we did. We know, both of us say we never did sign a contract with them. So when that person does call, you like they're going to. The contract is going to be the first thing that I ask for. I want a copy of it, and you know they're going to skirt it and not give it, you know, kind of thing. But anyway, I want it out of the contract, and I'm going to make a whole video. I don't know if I'll put it before this one or after this one, but it's going to be about, you know, I'm going to make it. I haven't made it yet. It's going to be about what I would tell, and if say I had had an adult daughter sitting next to me, what kind of suggestions I would make about what kind of businesses you want to do business with. That's to come. Anyway, this is going to be long enough for now.